What's shaking, everybody? My name is Ross Mandell. I'm coming to you guys live today from sunny Delray Beach, Florida, Scott Woolley Studios. And today we're going to touch on some of my favorites. My favorite topic in the world is confidence. You got to be confident when they say the cameras are on. You got to be confident when you walk into a business meeting. When you see a pretty girl, you got to be confident. Women can sniff that out. It's like a chemical reaction. You're going to meet Julee Gracey today. I want you guys to get over the initial shock because she is a spectacularly beautiful woman. But I want to say this to you all. You know, it's my experience that men, because we're mostly feeble-minded and we're, visually stimulated, we look at a beautiful woman and we say, she's got everything. She knows everything. She's so confident. I have no shot, etc. Nothing could be further from the truth. You're gonna hear about a woman today that used her assets early in life and then had to toss them aside for a minute and develop her inner self, because everything is an inside job in life. And until you get that, I feel badly for you. But it's an inside job. She is an incredible woman, an entrepreneur, a millionaire, a mother, a wife, and she is highly confident. And if you don't believe me, you got to check out this book. This is Highly Confident by Julee Gracey. Julee, welcome to the show today. I'm so psyched to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Ross.
So excited. You are really a very interesting guest. I can't wait to see these clips. What I like to do is, mostly because I'm the curious type, I like to dial the clock back because weren't always walking runways in Milan. You weren't always buying investment properties with your husband in all the hot cities. At one point, you were just a little baby born to some mom and parents. Tell us where you're from, where you were born, about early life, etc.
Sure. Yeah. Well, again, thanks for having me here. And yeah, there's been a long path from here to there to sitting with you today and teaching people how to be more confident. So I grew up on a 200-acre farm in the middle of nowhere, Southern Illinois. We had well water, like you'd fill up your cup and there'd be soot in the bottom and you knew to only drink the water halfway down.
Really?
We raised cattle. We raised and butchered all of our own beef. Everything vegetable we ate came from a massive garden that we grew and worked all year round. My father was a farmer. Very simple life. Hard work was just standard. You grow up on a farm. And this is one, everybody has asked me, how did you build so much confidence? When you grow up on a farm, there is no time to question yourself. The cows get out and you have to go figure out how to get them back in, right? And so you have this massive beast running at you. No one's coming to save you. So you develop confidence very quickly because you fail a lot very early. And that's a huge key in that is getting used to failure. And that fear was never a factor in decision making. I'm scared of the cows. Well, they still have to be fed. So go figure it out. Go do it. There's no one else coming to do it for you.
I love that.
So I learned to make decisions without the fear factor involved at a very young age.
Yeah, you were in the fields.
I literally was in the cornfields.
You had to it's like figure it out quick. So that's great. I mean, brothers, sisters, anything like that?
Yeah, I had an older brother. So obviously grew up with a brother.
That's a big help on a farm, right? I mean, a brother. Big brother.
It is. But also, you're a farm girl. I grew up with a brother. And so all of my friends growing up were guys because I'm used to hanging out with a boy. And so I was a tomboy. I barely brushed my hair, running through farms, athletics. I loved trying to beat the boys. In fact, I had coaches in high school pull me aside and run me against the boys and say, hey, is it okay if we run you against the boys. And if you beat
Really?
them, they have to do extra work. I'm like, yeah, bring it on. Let's go. I loved the challenge. Yeah, so definitely grew up very tomboy. I know everybody on the outside never guesses that, but I used to always work in construction. So I was a subcontractor. Ross, I can lay your flooring, I can replace your toilet, and I can hang your drywall. Which one would you like? I have done all of those.
What a woman. I mean, I love it. I can't even do any of those things, and I'm a man. And so let me ask you, you're a tall woman today? Like, how tall are you?
5'9". So
Okay.
here's the thing. I know that's tall for a woman. My brothers are 6'3". My stepbrother's 6'5". My father's 6'3". So in my household, I was short.
Okay, well, that's why I asked the question, because you aren't always 5'9", but women tend to mature much more quickly than the boys. So when you were growing up, like in junior high school, middle school, they call it, you were probably one of the taller, women. You were probably taller than most of the guys.
No, I love that you asked that, because between my 8th grade year and my freshman year, I grew 3 inches in 3 months.
What?
Like literally every night, my legs would ache every night
those growing
from
pains,
growing.
yeah.
So when I left middle school, I was the same height as the boys. When I started high school, I was like, oh, hey down there, how are you doing? And I loved it. I was taller than everybody at that point. And I was like,
listen,
shoulders back.
It's very intimidating. So I'm a confident guy in general, and I always was. I look back at my life, and I had a lot of fears and anxieties, but as a young boy and all that in school, and one of the things that was really tough for me to swallow was height. When I was like 10 or 12, I was 4'11". I was not the smallest kid in the class, but I wasn't. I was towards the lower of the middle range. I'm 5'9". I've been 5'9" during the course of my life. But a lot of the women that I wanted to meet and I wanted to chat with, become friends with, whatever, were just taller than me. And that was a thing that was very difficult for me as a young man growing up, because otherwise I wasn't afraid of anybody. I mean, I was like one of those guys. I was very physical. I was a wrestler, all these different things. Your show today. But, I would have looked at you and I would have been like, oh, my God, like she's too much. And it was a height thing. So, we all have these sort of fears, doubts, anxieties, even confident people. I know a lot of women that were young, gorgeous, that grew quickly, but they were sort of like flat-chested, and they weren't developed, and they were they had a couple of gawky years and all that. And like they're the most beautiful women today, and they would talk to me how that they couldn't get a date, and the guys used to make fun of them, and all these.
Yeah, well, you're talking to one right now. That was me. I was the gangly, awkward girl. And so what do? When you want to prove, I want to prove that I'm pretty. So what do? I moved to LA and become a model and start walking runways in Milan. And all right, check that box.
Love it.
And it's always proving something to yourself.
I love that.
It really is. Like, okay, all right, Julie, you checked the box. You're pretty. Now, what's next?
Let's talk about that. So when did you first realize that you had the ability to be a model, to just be, somebody that was revered by a photographer, a magazine, a fashion house, etc.?
Yeah, so I went to my mom. I mean, you're growing up, a little girl on a farm, middle of nowhere. It's a very simple area that I live in, not a lot of wealth or anything like that. And so, I'd see magazines,
right,
and these beautiful women, and they would be traveling to all these amazing places. And I just wanted to travel. My love language is experiences. I love to travel. I love to find new places and try new foods.
I love it.
And I went to my mom and I was like, look, I really would like to do this. And my mom taught me something very young that I still use to this day. It's actually in my book. I teach it to clients now. It's a framework to take the emotion out and actually think logically. And it's asking in there. It's a framework that's like, what if I did? And so it is, what if I did try to model? This exact example is in the book. And so it was like, well, models are tall. Well, I'm tall. Okay. Well, models are thin. Well, I eat healthy and I exercise a lot. I'm an athlete, so I'll just keep doing that. Well, models have agents. Well, I don't have one of those. I got to figure out how to have one of those. Models live in big cities. Well, I live in the middle of nowhere, so I need to save my money and figure out how to move to a new city. So I literally just walked through the steps in the process. That's exactly how I ended up in Los Angeles working as a model, booking an agent overseas, walking runways in Milan. It's literally just a process of steps. But it started with my mom not saying, no, that's a bad idea, or who do you think you are to dream that big?
Very interesting.
Yeah, you get that. Some parents are like that, of like, oh no,
right.
Why would you ever do that?
Most parents are like that. Honey, that's not for you, honey. That's not for you. See, one thing about my parents, they said, you could be anything you want to be in this world.
Yes.
Those little comments, I never realized how valuable they were until I actually, met the girl that became my wife. Because her father was like, you're going to work in the deli in the neighborhood and trap a local guy because you're pretty. And you're going to, have a couple of kids and be a good mom and be a good wife. And they drilled this negativity into her head.
Yes.
Even after we were married, and he would pull me aside and say, "What are you doing? This is a beautiful house. You don't need that house. I mean, what are you doing? This car's $150,000. What do you have all that kind of money?" Like everything negative. You can't do this. You can't do that. You're not supposed to. It's like. But I didn't realize that many parents are like that.
They are. I coach a lot of those clients today. And what I coach, typically those first 3 months of working with someone, is I'm undoing what they already know, what they've already been taught.
It's unfortunate that I think anyone that's a young mom listening to this, a young father, get the fuck out of the way. Give them confidence. Let them know they could do anything. Anything. And
here's the thing, and also I would say give some grace to the parents too, because what are they teaching?
What they were taught.
What they've been taught.
Was your mom beautiful? Do you look like your mom or your grandma?
I am a combination, but yes, I look like my mother when she was younger. Absolutely.
So she was a beauty and married a farmer. I'm just saying.
Yeah, my mother is very independent. So my mother is from Canada. So I am a firstborn American.
Another Canadian.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with a lot of, all of a sudden I'm attracting a lot of Canadians in my life. It's very interesting.
Canadians make beautiful babies.
Listen, it seems the Canadians that are finding me are really successful, good looking, the whole thing, talented.
Well, here's the thing. I grew up with a mother who was an immigrant. I remember it being so cool. She had this little card. And as a kid, you don't know what it is.
No.
But it said legal alien. And it said alien on it. And I was like, my mom is an alien. This is the coolest thing. Not realizing what that actually meant.
Right.
But as I got older, realizing why was I raised to be such a strong, independent woman? Because she had moved here. Back then, there are no government programs for you. You are grateful to get to move here. It is a privilege. And, you better be grateful for everything that you have.
I love it.
And if you want more, go work hard for it.
I just love it. A farmer's daughter walking the catwalk. I think that's it's such a great story. I mean, you must have a hell of a husband. That's all I'm going to say. What a guy he must be.
I will admit, Ross, I have emasculated many men before I found one that could.
I love it.
I don't know, handle all of this, and there is a lot to handle.
That's okay.
But he is. He's a very strong and confident man. And he is.
I'm not shocked.
I've been with him for 23 years, and I can say I still to this day adore him.
And you have your children are with him?
We have our 2 daughters together. Yes.
That's beautiful. I love that story. Last personal question. So, what's your sign? Can I ask that? When were you born?
I was born in August, so I am a Leo.
Oh boy, I get it.
So I am a Leo with a rising sun and a sun. Like I am literally sunshine.
I get it. So I just get it. You know what? I didn't even have to. I want to ask you another question. It's a terrible question. You're not supposed to ask women.
Yeah, no, ask them. Honey, I've worked with all men. I've been asked all the questions.
Can I ask
Please.
how old you are today?
Yeah, I'm 46.
And that's a terrible question to ask a woman. I vowed never to do that again, but 46.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. I'm never shy about, I am proud to be 46.
You should be.
I've got some battle scars, and, at my life at 46, I am crushing it.
You're crushing it. You're crushing it. I mean, I want everybody to hear this and to get to know Julee Garvey, okay? That's what it is. It's like, I want people to understand we're all just people. I'm just a boy. You're just a girl. That's all.
Yeah.
And, we're the product of our experiences. Today we're having a little shared experience. So I could say, yeah, Julie and I know Julie. I spent an hour together with Julie. Unfortunately, it's being filmed and it's 1,000 miles away. But I'll take what I can get. That's who I am. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for these experiences. So you weren't always this highly confident. How old were you when you went to actually L.A. and did your mom take you? You didn't just get on a plane by yourself, did you?
No, you try to find a path. And again, sometimes people want to go to, to this destination. Well, sometimes the road to get there is you have to turn around and go backwards and take a left and take a right. And that's kind of how that worked out. I had family that was living in Arizona, so I had a chance to move from the farm in Illinois to Arizona where I had family and I knew people.
Beautiful.
And that's when I did actually my very first modeling job in good old Tucson, Arizona. And it was a billboard for Cost Cutters Hair. And it was me. And the billboard was the size of a huge building. And my hair's all pulled back and I'm laid across in like a suit in a chair. And you can't see my hair. And it just says, "You should see her hair." Right?
Like that
was the ad.
Very
that was
clever.
the ad. And so I remember in my little beat up car, driving around and looking up and seeing it and being like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
I'm as big as a building. I am as big as a building. Like, this is so cool. I want to do this again.
Wow.
And then
you got paid for that, right? You got paid for that.
I did, like $100. So
$100.
Yeah, you know what? I was grateful for every dollar.
I get it, but still, that's a great story. I don't know if I love that story. And how old were you? Do you remember how old you were at that time?
I was 19.
Okay, so you weren't a kid. You were already, I think I peaked at 19. I was a stud at 19. I was just a stone cold stud by every sense of the word. But I can't really talk about it. That's the problem. So, okay, so you do that modeling job. It's whoever the creative director. What a great. I get that. As a man, I'm like, we scroll, and it says, if you really want to see, men were so visual, and women, anything to do with the hair, they want to know. I mean, I have 2 daughters. It's hair day. I got to do my hair, or color, cut, eyebrows. It's just always, like they say, Dad, it's not easy to be a girl.
That's right, Dad. It's not.
And I get that. So now you're in Arizona. You do a job. Tell us more. Where do you go from there? 19 years old.
Yeah. So I worked full time for this Jewish CPA who was just kind of chaotic, and it was awesome. I was the secretary in the office.
I love it.
And because I'd been studying accounting, and I thought I was going to be an accountant, honestly. And so I was like, I'll get a job in an accounting firm and start learning that. And it was awesome and chaotic at the same time, and got an opportunity to move to San Diego with someone. I was like, well, that's not LA, but it's close.
Exactly.
So I moved there. I started working at the front desk at a gym. Okay. And again, started driving up to LA. It's a few hours from San Diego to LA, driving up for castings and auditions, and saved enough money to finally move to LA. And, lived in, back when Venice was a really bad area.
Yes.
There was, I had this really crappy apartment.
What year was this? I'm just trying to get my bearings in.
You're going to ask me years. And
just roughly.
Maybe it was 99. No, 97. No way. 99.
You would have been 21 in 99.
2000.
Okay.
Yeah. So 99, right around in there.
All right. So you're really starting to come into your, your female power. I'd like to say.
So then I'm starting to model. And again, I just wanted to travel. So I started modeling, saving money. And I went to my agent and said, look, I really want to go overseas. I just want to travel. So this is how bad my education was growing up. She says, okay, I got you 2 agencies that want you to come. One is in Germany and one is in Greece. Which one do you want to go to? And I had to ask her, well, which one's warmer?
Okay, I get it.
I was like,
no,
okay.
I think that's a fair question. I hate to say
I know, but I just was like, all right, sweetheart, you're so ignorant. But yeah, so I went to Athens.
I get it.
And you think you're going to go to modeling is not known in Athens,
no.
But I was brought on by the #1 Greek agency I was the only non-Greek. They all had dark hair, dark skin, dark eyes.
Right.
And here was the token blonde hair, blue-eyed American girl on there. And I worked a ton.
I get it.
I did campaigns for like Cyprus Airways. I did like campaigns for the country of Malta.
I get it.
They flew me up to Switzerland. I did Swiss like Swatch watches. I worked so much there.
And you made some money right along the way?
Yeah, but at that, I just was like, let me travel. Let me
get it.
experience things.
I listen. I so get it. I look at these young women are on my social media, and I've got to know some of them and their kids, and that's what they're doing. They Fashion Week, they're walking here, they're walking there. They're just in the game. It's a game of life. They're being adored, revered. They're made to feel important. That's what a lot of men do. They make you feel important, and they don't pay any money. You know, they give you titles and they give you a lot of bullshit, and you're like, you're happy. And meanwhile, they're making the money. And that's just, you know, just the way of the world, unfortunately. But, you know, in Greece, I mean, you have tens of thousands of Greek men staring at you. And you know what Greek men are known for. So I'm going to leave that on the table here because I want to get to the point.
I had fun there for sure.
And you know, another thing that I've been privileged to be around many, many beautiful women over the course of my life. And one of the things that now that I'm older and many of them are older, you know, they're much wiser in the ways of men. So, you know, you've never had a problem getting male attention, but being able to sort of funnel it down to how do I find serious men, real men, guys that, you know, fit, you know, what I'm interested in looking for at that time, because everybody's, excuse my French, full of shit. And everybody's coming on, and everybody has their own little agendas and their own, you know, lusts, etc. And you have to learn how to field all that. And from our, you know, we've never met before today, correct? I want the audience to hear this. We've never spoken before today, right?
Correct.
Sometimes people accuse me, oh, you know how you probably good friends with others. No, we're just meeting, and this is a first real chat. And we chatted maybe for 5 minutes before the cameras went on. So, you know, being able to sort of disseminate the bullshit and move forward. And because of where you are today, I know, just from our little chat, you're successful with that.
Yeah. Well, I've worked in, you know, I grew up with guys. I was a tomboy, and I've always worked in male dominated fields. So when I worked in construction, I worked construction. Who was I working with? A bunch of men. Right? They speak a different language. And you learn how to speak their language. And, I was just say, you know, getting male attention. Well, if I want to I know how to not get attention, and I know how to get attention. Now, what do you do with that attention? That's the game. Here's the thing. I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, but I know that if I put on a low cut dress and I look all night, I'm going to get male attention. But then when a man was like, wow, you're really pretty, and then I get offended by it, what did you expect?
Exactly right.
There's that balance, though, in a workplace. And I assure you, I've had all kinds of situations. I've never personally, and again, anybody that's been harassed at work, obviously, that's a serious thing that they should deal with that. But I've never had that issue. Why? Because when a comment comes up and I just go right back at him, I'll be like, oh, really? Yeah, you wish, buddy. Right. Like, you want to go toe-to-toe with me? Let's go. And I had one situation, only one that ever got a little more aggressive. And it was in a real estate office. And this guy kept making comments, and I just turned straight on him. I said, listen, you're never going to do anything but get to look and talk to me. But what I can do is we can partner and we can make millions of dollars in sales. So if you want me to help you do that, let's go. Otherwise, I'm going to go to your biggest competition and do the same thing.
What a great pitch that was.
And he was like, oh, okay.
Exactly.
And that was it. Great relationship. We went on to make a ton of money together. Easy. But it's, you need to be able to hold, like, hey, no.
Correct.
You want to come at me? Let's go.
You got to stand your ground. I get it. And
right.
But that has to do with confidence and being able to handle, that's what you call a high press situation. I know women get put in those situations by, you know, sort of unseemly men that just don't get it. Like they, you know, because you're willing to talk to them and you're pretty. They think, you know, how far can we take it? And sometimes you have to just, you know, set them straight. But you did it in a professional way. You said, listen, we can make millions of dollars together. What do you want to do? What do you want to do, buddy? What do you want to do?
Yeah, look, I'm going to help you make millions of dollars because you're
Correct.
never going to get any of this, or I can go to your competition. Which one you want?
I just love that because that's a true example. I'm dealing with something like that right now with a man who just can't get out of his own way, and I just had to really come down on him and just tell him to, shut the fuck up. And here's the way it is, and this is what can happen. But you got to get out of yourself. You get out of your feelings. It's enough. This is a business, bro. All right, so listen. You're traveling to Greece, Switzerland. You mentioned Arizona, L.A. You've mentioned Milan earlier. Talk to me about how you end up there, because I want to really move the clock forward in a way that everybody can understand, so I can understand.
Yeah, well, I had the opportunity to go to Milan and with another agency while I was overseas, and started walking, runways there. That's a lot of the modeling that's in Milan.
Like high fashion stuff. It's a high fashion stuff for real. That's like the big game. That, at least in my perception. I know it's not true, but
no, it is, and I think it's one of those things. I'm not trying to downplay it.
Of course.
It's just for me. It's like, oh yeah, I did that. Next. Is that the coolest thing I've ever done? No, it was cool, but there's so many other things to do and see. But yes, was it awesome? Yes. I have to tell you this story, Russ, that was in Italy was the only time I've ever been physically attacked.
Oh my
and
God.
You're going to love this story. It actually ends well. Thank God. So I was walking in the middle of summer, walking around to castings. You have to go to 6 or 7 different throughout the city of Milan. And it's hot. So you're in like a tank top and a skirt because every place you're going, you're trying on their clothes. You're just hot. It's sweaty. So
very little air conditioning, by the way. Very little air conditioning.
Yeah, no.
You can't get an ice cube in a restaurant. I've been there, done that.
Yes. So I was walking back to my agency, and I had stopped at this little kiosk at the side and gotten like a cold soda. I believe it's something like a Fanta type of drink. And it was icy cold, and I had just taken it like the biggest sip, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I'm walking, and all of a sudden a guy comes up behind me, puts his arm around my neck like this.
Oh God.
And tries to put his hand up my skirt. Right?
Oh my God.
Well, immediately, you say, are you a fight or flight person? Are you a fight or flight person? Well, immediately I just elbowed whoever it was behind me, and I turned around, and I was so angry. Right? That I had I'm left-handed. I had the can of soda in my left hand. And again, without even thinking, I just punched the guy in the face. He fell down. I sliced his cheek open with the can, still in my hand. Yep. And I throw it at him. I start screaming, and you should see like the fear on his face.
I get it.
And he scrambles and he starts sprinting. I start running after him. What am I going to do if he turns around? But I wasn't thinking. I was just like, I am going to rip your eyeballs out. And like I stand it, and I was and then I realized afterwards I was just so upset because he made me spill my ice cold drink.
Exactly.
I wasn't upset that he assaulted me. I was upset that he had spilled my drink. Like this is how.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
everybody's afraid of crazy. Everybody's afraid of crazy. Trust me. I was in prison. Everybody's afraid of crazy because crazy is crazy. And,
and I must have had crazy because the guy was like, oh, I just went after the wrong girl. I was like, I'm going to shred you. So yeah, that's the only thing that's ever happened to me in a negative way. But I handled it. But yeah, next time you're like, maybe like run, Julie, maybe that's the smarter choice. But I got lucky.
Your decision making is not in the proper mode at that point. But I believe you reacted exactly right. I would have freaking killed him. You know what I mean?
What would you want your daughters to do?
My daughters would have went crazy. My daughters would have reacted like you. They would have started a riot. By the way, they would have had 20 guys running after this guy. I mean, it's like I understand. It's you're not thinking, you're reacting, and I love, some of the things that the lessons you teach. You're an educator today, correct?
Yeah, I'm a coach.
I mean, you are. You teach women, maybe even men. I don't know. Mm-hmm. The topic of how to be confident. Is that right? I mean,
yeah. Here's the thing: both men and women, they have so much to offer the world.
So much.
But they're not confident. Where do I start? But then also, especially women, some men too, but especially women, we're told as a young age to sit down, be quiet, ask permission, don't brag, don't talk about money, it's rude. If you want money, it means you're greedy. Like all of these things you're taught when you're young. Well, if you want to start and grow a successful business, it's the opposite of everything that you've been taught. You have to stand up and get loud and get attention, and you don't need to ask for permission.
I love it. Now I know why Stephanie loves you so much and loves your content. I understand. She was told to go work in a deli by her parents. I mean, you're not going to college. Forget it. You're going to work in a deli. I mean, I'm just saying, you don't understand what that programming,
Yes.
It's garbage in, garbage out. And it to this day, it affects her, but she has risen above that. Being around me helped. It was a great deal. But I love it because you talk about what is the real definition of confidence. It's not about ego, right? It's not about ego. And doubt, I always talk, doubt is the killer of success. Tell us about these subjects.
Yeah, well, I mean, confidence is, I always just say, is keeping the promises to yourself. Like, can you trust yourself?
Okay.
Can you trust yourself? So if I make a promise to myself I'm going to do something and then I fail on that, I'm not confident. It's knowing this is what I'm going to do, and no matter what the outcome is, I'm going to be okay. I can handle it. I always say, today we sit here, we have managed all of our worst days. Every bad situation, every emergency, we've handled it and we're here. So I'm confident that the next thing that's going to come up, the next emergency, the next problem, I'm going to be able to figure it out. And if I don't know how to do it on my own, I know who I can reach out to, and I'm willing to reach out to those people.
This is such an important topic, and I'm going to explain to you how it's so much more even than you represent. It's so huge. I mean, I've gone into the mental health space. So I'm building a media company called Raw Media, but we're also building Raw Health and Wellness. And the mental health crisis in this country is just an epidemic. It's out of control. It's going to be the issue of the 21st century in this country. If America is going to survive. Every 11 seconds somebody kills himself in America. They kill themselves. They friggin' kill themselves because they've given up hope and they're not confident they can ever be okay again. These are the two most important things, hope and confidence. Because if you have hope, but it's fake hope, and you realize it's never going to happen because you have no confidence, now what do you do? I understand why you just want to leave this world, leave this place. And every 11 seconds, so we've been chatting now for 33 minutes. Think about that. 165 people have killed themselves since we're talking. That is the most overwhelming statistic, but it's not a statistic to me. It's not. It's a reality. It's an overwhelming right now. In my life, I face real situations. I've manned the suicide hotline, by the way. I was a drug addict and alcoholic. I went to federal prison facing life. I mean, I have to tell you, I understand what it's like to have a gun to your head, literally. I mean, but that's another story. But yes, just like when you were attacked, I mean, a lot of women have been attacked. A lot of women I know, like you, women that are beautiful, etc., that have been, raped and beat. All kinds of crazy, terrible things happen. But the two things, hope and confidence. And you teach confidence. Think how important that is. You relate it a lot to business, and the women that come to you have ambition, and they probably have an understanding of what they would like to do in the world, but they're just not quite confident in their ability, and you help them get over that hump. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing. People come to me for business advice. That's not the problem. Oh, I can get whatever your business, depending on what it is. We're going to scale your business. We're going to get to 6-7 figures. That's not the issue. It's we always say the mindset, which sometimes that word gets overused, but that's why in my book, I basically laid out like a highly confident life guide, because everything affects each other. If your personal life is terrible and you're not taking care of your health, yes, that affects your business. And if your business is terrible, it affects your life, your personal health, and your relationships. They all are connected. So what I coach, they'll get on, okay, we're going to talk about sales. I'm like, no, how many times did you move your body this week?
Discipline.
So, yeah, that's part of the process. You're going to not, because you're going to have these pillars, and I don't call it balance, but you have these pillars. If one is way down, it's going to be hard to keep raising the other one. And so, yes, we're going to have exactly that, discipline with all the areas of our life, because when you establish discipline in your workouts, like I'm sure this morning, you're probably similar to me. Did I already do my training? Did I already work out? Do I have a system during the week, especially? Yes. When I keep on that system, it flows right into business.
Yeah, a lot of men that I meet, have used routine and discipline in their life to give them confidence.
Yeah, well, I can tell you this. My husband is the most disciplined, routine man that I have ever met. And he whoever you're around affects you. He has helped me become more disciplined and routine. Because in my world, if there's people that are listening out there, like a routine that I have to do the same thing every day, like immediately that sounds boring. That sounds like you're clipping my wings. I like to be free, until you actually put it to use. And then you realize how much more freedom you have when you have discipline in your schedule. So I struggled with that for years. I would see, like, I could literally say, oh, what time is it? I know exactly what he's doing right now. Oh, where to a T.
And it gives you a certain degree of okayness, knowing these things, right? Because you can rely on them. You can, like a clockwork, use it at the gym, like a clockwork, use it at the office, it's like that. I mean, you can do yoga and have a margarita at the same time.
You know what? I can, and I do.
I mean, that's my favorite post that I've seen this week. I want you to know.
Like, if you want to get to know me, that video pretty much sums me up.
You are my kind of gal. I'm just going to say like that. That's one of the greatest posts I've ever seen.
That's what balance looks like in my life.
that's what it should look like. I hate to. We are like-minded people, you and I. That's really great. Yeah, I strive. I strive to bring discipline into my routine. I'm a stock market guy, Wall Street guy my whole life. I have that down to a science. I can build a company, fund it, and take it public without even really thinking too much. But to this whole social media journey, this whole thing, this is a whole new world we're in. For the first time in human history, 8 billion of us are connected. First time in human history because of like cellular technology, the internet, the satellites, Elon Musk's brilliance with Starlink. You can find a hotspot in the Kalahari Desert right now. And if you have an $8 flip phone, you could reach 8 billion people through the brilliance of Mark Zuckerberg and the guys at Google and YouTube and all these different things. The problem is we've been separated by language. There's over 100 different languages around the world. And now they've conquered that with AI. So now for the first time in the course of human history and planet Earth, and I believe in God. I'm a spiritual type guy. God is a word, but it's 3 letters. It's very easy for me to chat about it. I don't have to get into this whole higher power, energy, creative universe, all these different things. But for the first time in the course of human history, we can literally communicate with anybody on planet Earth. And, from what I can see, Julee is a confidence specialist. And that is a brilliant, brilliant place to be. Because so many people have that hunger, that thirst, that ambition. If they just had a little confidence, because the journey is littered with failures, obstacles, negativity, people and the closest people in your world, we can't afford it, it's too much, keep your job, it's a reliable check. They're not saying we're going to be poor the rest of our lives, but we can rely on the fact that we're going to be poor the rest of our lives. You teach women how to get out of the box. I had the privilege to meet a woman called Kayla Hodges. Mm-hmm. She teaches women sales, empowerment, sort of like a blazing redhead. She's become a friend, and she's been going through a lot of stuff. She posted a big thing yesterday. I urge women to check that out. But confidence is something that she had to. I mean, her story's a brutal story. Your story is almost like a blessed story. Again, only because when I see you and the way you hold yourself today, I don't feel your pain. I feel your experience. And you're living a sort of a charmed, blessed life right now. How many of you got two beautiful? How great is having two beautiful daughters? Talk about motherhood for a minute.
Yeah, well, I wanted to have boys. I prayed to God,
What?
please give me twin boys. If I could have a couple of boys, then I would like always have like a buddy to play sports with. Throw the football around. I was an athlete, state. I got offers to run in college. My husband was an athlete. He still to this day holds records at his high school.
In what field?
In running.
Really?
Running. Yeah.
Where is he right
runners.
now? Where is he right now? We can still bang out a couple of twins, a couple of boys.
Yeah, right.
Where can we find them?
Oh, no, you're going to love this, Ross. So my two daughters were 3 and 1, and I didn't know what I wanted. There was I wanted something small and cuddly here, but I didn't know quite what it was. And so I went to my husband. I said, I don't know if it's a baby, if I want another baby, or if I just need like a cat. The very next day, Ross, he comes home with 2 kittens and says, here you go.
That's a husband.
And so that's how we ended up with 2 daughters and 2 cats.
But I'm a little confused by one thing.
Yes.
Your children are babies still. They're young. No. How old are they today?
Today they are 16 and 18.
Oh, so you have teenagers already. Oh, boy. Okay.
I've got one in college, Ross.
They need, Mom, I need a car. Mom, I need prom dresses. Mom, right?
Nails, homecoming, private
hair.
college. All the things.
I mean, it's wonderful having daughters, but it's, you have them for life. Are they beautiful? Yeah. Are they beautiful like their mother? I mean, tell us about that.
They are. They are beautiful in their own unique way.
Yeah,
which
I get
obviously is always nice.
Special.
Yes. And my oldest is like much more kind and thoughtful. I mean, the kindest, thoughtful person. And I'm just like, she has to get that from her father, because I'm much more like logic XYZ, and she's just so sweet and kind, which has always made me incredibly protective of her, that she can be taken advantage of. And then,
I get it so much.
And then my youngest, she's me. She's
tiger. Just
like, nobody's gonna mess with me. I'm a little feisty. I'm not really motivated unless there's something in it for me. And I love as a mother, that's very challenging, but I'm just like, she's going to go just crush it one day.
When I started late, I didn't get married till I was 41. Mm-hmm. First baby at 42. I was so confident my whole life I'd have 2 sons, right? So we went to the ultrasound, and Stephanie was like, no, we're going to have daughters. And I'm like, all right, sure. I'm Ross Mandell. Forget it. You have no chance, right? I'm looking upstairs, God, right? We go to the ultrasound, and they say, oh, look, you're going to have a beautiful baby girl. And I was like, I'm sure you're mistaken. Please check. And she looks at me like I'm friggin' like, what? She's never heard that in 30 years. I said, please, I want you to check again. I'm pretty sure you're mistaken. Like, I'm so confident. I'm confident. Sometimes it's misplaced. And she gives me this ultrasound picture, and she writes around it and says, it's a girl. She goes, sir, if that's a boy, you got a big problem. And, we went out for lunch in Soho in Manhattan, very trendy, model-y type place. We were sitting next to a famous movie star, a woman who was a famous model in a whole bunch of movies with Bruce Willis and, A-list. Still making movies, A-list, older now. I'm crying. Actually, I'm crying. I said, it has to be a mistake. And maybe there's a secret twin behind there. I've heard those stories, And I have 2 amazing daughters as well. And, for a man, it's, there's nothing more special than that relationship. I'm right? I mean,
Oh, yeah. No, obviously becoming a mother changed me in so many ways. It made me less of a people pleaser and more, definitely more of like a nope, cut and dry, really strong boundaries. But for my husband, yeah, becoming a father, he was very much ambitious, a little ruthless,
Really? I love it.
in a good masculine way.
I get it.
And having his daughters, it was like you just see him just turn to just putty.
It's we're very men are very susceptible to women anyway, but our little women, you could forget it. I mean, it's like I don't stand a chance.
Well, and one of the best decisions I ever made was to choose him to be the father of my children because
I love you, Julie. I love you. That's what I say. I picked a mother who was 16 years younger than me.
Yeah. Okay.
I shot for years for the right mother.
We have 12 years difference.
That's great. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah. I tried to date people my age. I felt like I was babysitting. No offense.
I hate to tell that my daughters are so far. They're 25 and 22, and I'm like, these guys are like, they're great guys, by the way. They found the best guys. They've always had guys, by the way. But you understand, it's like women are next level.
Yeah, well, they're still trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives, and as
Correct.
they should.
And it takes time for a man.
Yeah.
Most men, it takes time. I get it. That's such a great, we really see eye to eye. I mean that. It's very interesting for me to meet someone that really thinks a bit like me. It's that accountant in you and that farm girl. I get it. It's so great. So, at some point, you go into business. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. So I was modeling. I was working in TV. I was working on a game show called Deal or No Deal with Howie Mandell.
What a great show that is. What do you mean?
It was great. It was great. Here's the thing. At that point in my life, like modeling and working in TV wasn't my passion. It was just something I did while I got to travel. I had been, I was newly married, and I was ready for the next phase. So I happened to book this TV show at that time. In fact, I actually kind of tried not to book it. I was coming back from another job. My agent was like, you have to run over to the studio. You have to go to this audition. I was like, no, I can't. I literally had been doing a ad for a pet food company. So I've been rolling around in the grass with a dog. That was the photo shoot. I had literally leaves in my hair. I had slobbers all over me. And they're like, you have to rush to this studio for this audition. I'm like, no, I'm not going. And my agent, thank God, he actually got really stern with me. He's like, you have to go. And I was like, oh, he's never been like that. I was like, oh God, is he going to fire me? And so here's the thing. When I get like boxed in, I get very angry, and then I'm going to go prove my point. Fine, I'm going to go. I'm going to go to this audition. I'm going to prove they're going to kick me out as soon as they see me because I'm not in a swimsuit. I don't have a headshot. I'm not, like, this is ridiculous. So the reason I went was to be able to tell off my agent about how I was right and he was wrong. That's the only reason I went. Okay. And so I get there, and, they're like, do you have a headshot? I'm like, nope. Do you have, a swimsuit? Nope, but I got a pretty decent bra. I can just go in that.
Wow.
And which is this is normal for LA. And so, okay, fine. So I walk, and I have flip-flops on.
Okay.
I walk into a room. On one side is like 4 or 5 guys. On the other side are a line of the most beautiful women you've ever seen. All in heels, swimsuit, tan, shiny, glossy. And here comes Farmer Julie with her flip-flops and her leaves falling out of her hair in a bra and a makeshift skirt with a tank top. And I'm like, hi. I mean, it was just like, I was like waiting for them to kick me out, right? Well, they have you go down the line, and they didn't kick me out at that point, and say your name and say something about yourself. So I am tired and sarcastic at this point, Ross. And so they get to me, and I'm like, hi, my name's Julie. And you know what? I am probably the only girl in this room that knows how to drive a tractor. And they're, laughed, and I was just like, this is so stupid. Like, just
it's
tell
a
me
great line. What do you mean? That's a great line.
Well, I walked out to my car, and I got a call from my agent, and he just said, what did you say? And I was like, oh God, I'm so getting fired. He was like, they loved you. You booked the job.
I get it.
Like, what?
Because you didn't give it, excuse me, you had that I don't give a fuck attitude. You were harried, and harassed. Everybody else trying so hard. People could smell it. They could feel it. These men were like, who the hell is this chick? I want her.
Yeah.
That's just human nature.
And the thing is I actually cried on the way home. I'm not a crier, But I did cry on the way home. And the reason why, Ross, is because I was so disappointed in myself that I wasn't going to even give myself a chance.
Really?
The fact that I walked in there and booking the show, booking the job was not even an option in my brain. Like I already knew that they weren't going to hire me. I was just there to prove a point to my agent. Like that I would be the one to discount myself. Right? That I would be the one to judge myself and say, you're not worthy. This is not going to work for you. And I was so disappointed in myself in that moment of why would I discount myself so badly that I couldn't see the opportunity there. And I think that happens with a lot of people. They see an opportunity and like, oh, that's not for me. I could never book that. I'm not good enough. And I see this so often in my coaching that they already count themselves out before they ever give themselves a chance.
It's a story of
there's
life.
a saying.
It's a story.
Yeah, there's a saying like, you can't hit the ball if you don't swing.
100%.
And so get up there and swing. You might miss, but at least you tried.
You show me a successful guy, I'll show you a guy that's failed, a million times. I mean, I love the story of Colonel Sanders because we all know who that is.
Yes.
Kentucky Fried Chicken didn't exist till he was over 65. Mm-hmm. How crazy is that? He was a nobody, I'm just saying, and he became this world-renowned. KFC is the where they sell more chicken than anywhere else in the world? Over 3,000 in China. They line up. I've seen photographs. Line up outside KFC. Over 3,000 in communist China. They're eating fried chicken. Mm-hmm. I mean, the point of the matter is that you didn't give a shit. You thought you couldn't do it, whatever. And like you said, you discounted yourself, which is really something that we all do. Everybody does. The most successful guys. But you have to overcome all that stuff. You got to realize that's just a noise in your head. It's clutter. And I love this. That's a great story. Did you make any money from that?
I did. Can
you talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it was decent enough. But again, at that time, I was ready to go and start a family. I was ready to move on to the next thing.
I understand. You were leveling up. Years. You were leveling up.
And so whenever they came back with the contract for the next year, I was like, I'm having a baby, so bye. And I started my next phase of life.
How'd you meet your husband? I want to hear that story. How'd you meet him?
My husband hired me to work for him.
I'll bet he did. He spent the rest of his life working for you. I know the story.
That's right. I always
I hired my wife.
Joke. I make that. He was the boss and now I am. No, I'm kidding.
It's true.
But yes, he hired me to work for him.
What does he do that he would hire you? What was the business?
My husband works in hospitality. So I was going to stop modeling.
Okay.
I was going to go back to college, continue to get my accounting degree.
I love it.
Which I started. And I'm going to go get a real job. And I'm going to go work in a hotel. I'll go be a concierge. That's a perfect job for me. And I got hired. And probably less than 30 days, I quit that hotel and went to work at the hotel next door because I was like, I want to date my boss.
And that was his hotel? That was his hotel?
Yeah.
And that, what city was that? Was that LA, Dallas? Where was it?
It was in the LA area, yeah. And so, and so that was it. And then I've never been a dater. Like if I'm with you, it's because there's potential. Otherwise, we don't see each other. And so
I love it.
Went on my first date with him. I was like, well, this is done. So, and that's it. That's it.
Confidence, baby. I love it. I just love it. He was happy to go along for that ride, right? Was he a single guy at the time or was he like cheating?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. Yeah, no, single guy.
Okay, I got to ask you. It's it's a lot of stuff goes on.
Yeah, my husband, he made a comment one time because he was 12 years older than I am, and he just said, you know what? I always say like I just skipped my first marriage so that I could find you. And so, because in LA, a lot of times it's the first marriage and then the second marriage sticks.
Correct.
He's like, nah, I just skipped the first one. I was waiting for you.
And how old was he when he got married?
I was
him.
Well, I was 25. So
okay, so he was 37.
He was 36, 37.
And he was never married up until that point.
Oh.
And did you ever say to yourself, this guy, 37, never married? I mean, it's not going to happen?
No. I mean, it was.
I already knew the answer, but I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, it is. This is my person.
That's it.
This is my
It's going to
person.
happen, and that's the end of it.
And
It's
here's
not
the
even
thing,
open for discussion.
I wasn't looking for that person, and that's just what I say. Like, I'll get married when I'm in my 30s. Like, I'm independent, and then, yeah, you make a plan, but then you meet the person.
You don't play small, Julie. You don't play small.
I play to win.
You play. That's the only way you should play. I teach people like this. So it's a lesson I learned in my first week on Wall Street when I lost some money on a trade, when I was being shown how to trade, and the guy saw I was like upset. And he goes, "Sit down, Mandell." He said, "The first thing you're going to learn is trading is a game, and I'm going to teach you something. All of life is a game. Life is a game. Don't ever take anything that seriously." And I'm like looking at this guy like, I'm a kid. He's 45. He's a multimillionaire. He's, a big shot at this brokerage firm. His life is a game. When you play a game, you play to win, right? And I'm like, yeah, I got that part, But he taught me a very valuable lesson. It's a game. Life is a game. Relationship, everything's a game. But you play to win, right? You can understand that. It's hard to say I'm going to win at life. What does that mean? But if something is a game, right? You play to lose? Do you play to come in second? No. You play a game. You play to win.
And I love that you had that mentor. And in listening to many of your episodes, I've been binging them. You talked about something, how you had a mentor that you got to go and just sit and listen.
I would shut my mouth, sit in the corner, and take notes.
Yes, I did the same thing. That's how I started my real estate career. I went to the number one real estate agent. I went to an office, all guys, and they called me Sweetheart when I came in. That was my name. Oh, Sweetheart.
Is that bad, Sweetheart?
Oh, no, I took that as a challenge of like, how quickly can I get them to change my name from Sweetheart to Gracey? Right? Because guys let you use your last names, right?
Yes.
And so I was like, bring it on. So within a few weeks, first deal was $1.5 million. Oh, Sweetheart. Is that someone you know? Was that okay. A few weeks later, $1.3 million on the board. And they were like, oh, okay, Sweetheart. Like, and then I'm like, I don't see your name on the board.
You'd be baby. Now in my game, I'd be called baby.
Yeah, well then the next deal, and then they started calling me Gracie. Hey, Gracie. I was like, okay, now I have their respect. Okay. So fine, you can call me Sweetheart all you want. All I know is I'm kicking your butt on the board. So babe and great and babe and like Sweetheart, are these words that professional women despise, that they feel that makes them less than? I'm just curious. Well, I mean, it's definitely, I mean, it's unprofessional, but here's the thing. I grew up with guys.
Right.
None of that, it only bothers me if I let it. So correct. I could have said something. And shut it down. But instead correct. I was like, oh, no.
Okay.
You're going to start calling me Gracie by proving my sales. And that's what I did. But I also did something really smart too. Like you said, I went to the number one agent in our office and said, listen, I will give you 50% of everything that I make. I just want to sit in your office and listen to the words that you say.
I learned it was nothing to do with the words, like, because on Wall Street, everybody has scripts. I have questions. Mm-hmm. It was understanding the mindset that this guy had. One day he calls the CEO of IBM. He's never spoken to the guy before. He shows me a card. It's a Dun & Bradstreet card on a 5x8 index card with tons of notes. One of his cold callers got the guy on the phone at some point and qualified the guy. And the guy's the CEO of IBM. And the guy is obviously a beast financially. And he's been in the business for 30 years, worked his way up, worked in different departments, and now he's running IBM. At the time, the bluest of blue chips. This is 1985. Think about that, 40 years ago. I'm sitting there in the room, and he's like, watch this. So we got to a point, because I would sit there and shut up. I wouldn't say a word, and I love to talk. And I would be literally writing down notes. We didn't have cell phones, notes, only computers, none of that. Don't Google. And he got this guy on the phone with intention. Like when I do business, I'm very intentional. Every time I pick up the phone, I'm intentional. And he pitches this guy 100,000 shares of a stock called Whitman Enterprises. Whitman owns a bunch of companies. It was one of these, not a holding company, but it was just a company that owned all different big brand names. You know, it was a probably $1 billion company 40 years ago. It was a real company, New York Stock Exchange, old school. I don't even know if it's around anymore. I think they probably got acquired or merged into one of these magnificent giants now. But it was a company that our firm was really recommending. And he stands up and he's like, I forget the guy's name, Don. I want you to own 100,000 shares with me today. It's $3.5 million. Can you wire me $3.5 million in the next 7 days? Can you do that, Don? So I'm sitting there like, what? It's like, you know, it's like he's asking the guy for $5. Can you do that? Can you do that, Julie? Like, you man enough? You got that moxie? You know, or am I talking to the wrong cat? The tone, you understand the tone, the mindset.
Yes.
It's the way you posit something, the delivery. And he physically stands up. Mike Cavanaugh, big shout out, bro. This guy used to drive a convertible Rolls Royce in Manhattan in 1985. He's 6'3". He used to come in a beautiful three-piece suit. He liked the chains, a mustache. I mean, he was like a stud, the long hair. Mike, a big shout out, bro. I love you. And he would stand up. He was about 6'3", and he was very thin, maybe like 180 pounds. And the guys on the other end of the phone, silence. Can you do that, Don? Could you wire me $3.5 million in 7 days? You man enough to do that? That was the tone. And I'm sitting like this is not a movie. This was real life. I'm sitting on the edge of my seat like I'm like pulverized. First time you ever spoke to this guy, the guy's like, yeah, Mike, I can do that. Terrific, Don. I want to welcome you to Oppenheimer & Company. It's a real privilege to have you on board. You will not look back with regret. We're going to make a lot of money together. I'm going to put my assistant on. Would you hold on a second? And the guy's like, okay. CEO of IBM. He had 150,000 employees, I think, at the time in America alone. And I'm like, nobody talked to him like that. Mm-hmm. But this is sheer training. And this guy was one of the top stockbrokers in history. He was one of the Lehman 7 that created telemarketing, that went to the Federal Trade Commission in the late 70s and got permission to solicit securities over the telephone. There was no cold calling securities. These 7 guys got it approved. And then the next few years, Wall Street met Main Street for the first time. And I was one of those guys. I was trained by this crowd, 3 of the 7. Mm-hmm. And to make more mentors to me. And mentorship is everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I say this, they always say, oh, Julie, they talk about the self-made woman. I have not gotten anywhere in life without another person, without a mentor. Every step of the way, every success that I have had is because of a mentor. And that's why I love that story. You said how I went in there and I listened. And you know what it takes, especially respectfully to my guys, it takes you taking your ego down and saying, you know what? I've been successful. Okay, but maybe there's things I don't know. And maybe I should sit down and be quiet and learn. And if you're willing to do that, and I would say tuck that ego in a little bit, ego can be a really great thing, right? It's that like, okay, I'm going to show you. Let me go and prove I can do this. Great. But it can also shut down your brain to where you're not willing and open to learning from someone like you did. 2
ears and one mouth. God was trying to tell you something, right?
Yeah.
People don't understand. You have to listen. If you want to speak properly, if you want to speak and be respected, if you want to speak and become accomplished, shut the fuck up and listen until you're capable of communicating properly. And that's really a great message. And, you know, what a striking character you are. I mean, I'm telling you, if you're a woman out there anywhere on earth, pretty soon she'll be teaching in 100 languages how to do yoga, look amazing while you're having a margarita. I mean, that's how I'm always going to think of you, Julie.
Well, I never was the intention to trust me, this wasn't like, oh, in my life path, I want to go be a business coach. That wasn't it. It's seeing opportunities in front of you and being willing to lean into them, even if you don't know where they're going. And that can be scary for a lot of people. But what's the end goal? I don't know. All I know is that you can say yes now and see where it leads.
Your intention is to be a female empowerment coach, to teach women how to sell, how to be better, how to get more from their lives. Is that fair to say? That is your intention.
Absolutely.
And you take action, right? You take action, right? You wrote a book. What a book. I just want to say, if you don't get this book, really, you're less than. How much is it on Amazon? How much do you sell this book for?
It's $20.
How do they find it?
It's just go to Amazon and look Highly Confident or Julee Gracey. And the great thing is there's an exercise in there, which I just talked about today. And once you log in, you actually get a free training from me of how to use this exercise in your life.
I love it.
Everything in there is what I teach, from people starting businesses to my multi-million-dollar CEOs. There's some fun stories. But I also like facts. Like, what are the facts?
Of course.
And so I've got a lot of those in there as well. And here's the thing for my guys. For the men that I coach, I love coaching my men because they are just doers, right? Women, God bless us, we like to overanalyze and overthink a lot of things.
Correct. I get it.
For my guys, it's almost easier. I'll be like, do X, Y, and Z. And don't
get
on our next don't get on our next coaching call until it's done. Okay, Julie, I'll do it. They just do it, right? But here's the thing. Guys don't tend to want to ask for help. There is that cliche. It's true.
It's 100% true. And I want to say something. I'm going to say something that's very important. I say, because it just hit me, and I really mean this sincerely. If you're a man and you're looking for mentorship, I might not be for you. I don't know. But I want to say, I believe you can do more help for men because you're very attractive, and men are intimidated naturally by you. I'm just going to say it. Not people so much like me, but people that just tens of millions of men out there wouldn't even approach you. You're like unapproachable. You're tall and you're lean and the whole thing, the whole package. Whatever it is, you got it. I'm just going to say it like that. Whatever it is. And for a man to be able to hire you, to buy your time. Do you sell time? I mean, do you sell packages, coaching packages for men?
I do. I have, one-on-one coaching. I also have a business builder boot camp that I'll be starting after the first of the year. So for people like, I think I want to start a business. Is this a good business idea? I just met with a guy and he was like, I have this business idea. And I just had to be very blunt and say, this is a terrible business idea and here's why. But if you tweak these two things, you now have $1 million business. And so that's what's challenging for is they don't know what steps to take. So
That's
they
it.
just
You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. And here's the thing I can tell you, and I truly believe this. I do believe that men, they want to go out and do really well in their jobs. They want to be good husbands. They want to be good fathers. And like, who taught you how to be really great in all those areas? Right? What expert in your life did you have to show you how? And when it comes to business, you might be like, I have a really amazing roofer. I have a really amazing guy who can do landscaping, all of that. But no one actually showed him how to run his business. And no one actually taught him how to schedule his time.
Correct.
For his family. And I'll say, no, you're not working on Sunday. We're going to create your business. You're not working on Sunday. You're going to go have lunch with your wife. Guess what? When you drive home, there's that little shack on the side that sells flowers. You're going to whip in there, grab some flowers and take them home.
I love it.
Right? Like those little things make such a huge difference.
Mindset.
And it really does. So not only do I help make their businesses better, I can help them grow their business. That's not a problem. But it's the quality of their life as well.
When I was a younger man, if we had, social media, the internet and all those things, I would have hired you. I don't care if 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. I had money. I would have hired you. Because trying to understand what the mindset is of a beautiful, successful woman. Because business, financial success, when I was hard. There was no internet. You didn't know what everybody else was making. There was no social media. You didn't see everybody flying around in private planes and beautiful cars. I mean, I was flying in private jets in 1985. There was no rappers, there's no hip hoppers. There wasn't even any athletes. Athletes weren't making that kind of money. Only Wall Streeters,
Right.
and guys that own companies. The guys that I was raising tens of millions for, they were paying me hundreds of thousands and millions, and they were making tens of millions and hundreds of millions. I was happy to get those crumbs. But I went to private airports. There were no private airports. There was a few. It was like, it wasn't like today you get to see all this thing. It's very stimulating. And I do believe it's much easier now to become a millionaire. The problem is everybody's a millionaire. I mean, now everyone's a billionaire. I mean, it's great. Now they're talking about trillionaires. I mean, so everything is evolving. I'm actually going to do a piece later on how to get there, how to understand the stock market, because people are afraid to ask. I went to an event last night and I found myself with 6 women sitting around a table explaining to them the stock market, why the market keeps going high, why it will continue to keep going higher, why it's all organized to do that in the first place. And because of the brilliance of technology and brilliant men, wow, you should see what's coming. And you are like a bridge for a man, an ambitious man who still maybe made some money, maybe has a good business sense, but is intimidated in life. Love to have a woman like you as a girlfriend, as a wife. And you can help you could help men evolve, as a package. Like it's like life coaching. So that's what I would hire you for that.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. And it's just like there's opportunities in their businesses that they're already working hard. And here's what I do know is a lot of the men that I work with, when business isn't good, what do? They just work extra hours. They just work longer in the day. They start working the weekends. They just work more because that's what they know how to do.
Correct.
And so what I do is I go into their business and say, we're going to have you be working less and making more.
Working smarter.
And they don't know how to do that on their own. And so I did that recently with a guy that like, oh gosh, I actually took my wife on a date. She's so happy. The first Sunday he hadn't worked in months. Yes, that's exactly because you don't live to work, right? And they just don't know another way.
Well,
and
I agree with that, depending. I used to say if you live in New York City, you live in Chicago, you live in L.A., you live to work. But when you come down to places like Miami and, different like subtropic places, you work to live. I couldn't hire good people. I've had offices and businesses in Florida and nobody wants to work. They just want to live.
I admit we have those issues too with our businesses in Florida, but I get it.
You gotta understand the realities sometimes of business and life. How do we find you, Julie? How does the average person out there find you?
Yeah, just on social media, obviously. There's YouTube, there's Instagram, there's I have the programs going to be coming out in January. They're not out quite yet, but yeah, you can simply find me on Julee Gracey, and it's Julee. Julie.
Very
Julee.
different name.
Yeah,
Very
my mother's
different.
Canadian. She spells differently. That's just how we do it.
Is that your is that your real legal name, Julie? With
it is.
Double E?
2 E's.
I never heard that before.
Yes.
Never heard that before. Very cool.
I'm named after a little girl my mom used to babysit. So one day maybe I'll find the woman I was named after.
Wow, that's very cool.
Yeah. So Instagram is a great place to find me. I'm also on YouTube.
Gracey is Gracey.
Grace with a Y.
Okay, and now is that your married name? Is that your legal name? Is that your maiden name?
It is my name forever, my legal name. I always wanted to have a little girl named Gracie, and then I got the name. So,
Cool.
careful what you wish for.
How cool. Oh, what a privilege it is to have you today. There's so many questions I can ask. I could keep you here all day, believe it or not. It's like my favorite topic, because if you don't have confidence, you don't have a life. I'm sorry. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is it. Julie, this is your life. You're the star of your show. You want to be sitting on some porch one day saying, I woulda, I shoulda, I coulda, but I didn't. No. No. Your life's on the big screen every day. You're watching it. What do you think of yourself? What do you think of your life? You got to get out there. You got to live. You got to do things. You got to try things. Without confidence, your life becomes very small. and very narrow. Some people want that. I don't criticize. I don't judge anybody. But I think most people want more.
And they do. And I say the first step, that is exactly why I wrote this book. Because the first step in here, the very first step is the first chapter is, what do you actually want?
Correct.
The first step is, what do you want? And get it out of your head and onto paper.
I love it.
There's science and factual data behind actually getting it out of your brain and writing it down, because then it becomes real. Then you make a plan to go after it, and you start with step 1 and then step 2. That's how I've been able to go from a farm girl in the middle of nowhere to walking runways in Milan, to selling millions in real estate, to now being a business coach and a millionaire. And it's all based on getting very clear about what you want and taking the logical steps toward it. And I will tell you this, every success I've had a mentor. And when I tell people in business, they're like, "Oh, I don't need a coach. I don't need a mentor." Okay, who are your favorite athletes?
Exactly.
Michael Jordan, maybe Tom Brady.
Correct.
You know, guess what they all have in common? They have had a coach and a mentor their entire lives, multiple. Right?
They all have sleep coaches today. I don't know if you know this. They all hire sleep coaches because sleep is the single most important process you can have in life. You don't sleep well, you don't heal. I've always been a bad sleeper. I've had to work on that. Believe it or not. Mm-hmm. How can you function 100% if you're cranky?
Yeah, in here. The chapter. Ensure success. The number one thing I said is your health. And guess what the number one thing for your health is? Sleep.
I love it. And
I couldn't agree more.
I'm so grateful I got that book. I'm so happy to meet you. Last question. I always like to end with this. 5 years from today. Yeah. What's Julee going to be doing? The kids will be, with boys and apartments and et cetera. Yeah. What do we expect from Julee Gracey in 5 years? I
will be down in Florida with you, Ross. I'll be back down in Florida. And I want to continue to be a person that can build confidence in other people, because I truly believe people have so much potential inside of them that it just wastes. They say, like, look at there's nothing worse than all the wasted, potential.
Correct.
In a graveyard.
Terrible.
In a graveyard, because they just never felt like permission or they don't know what to do. Get guidance, get a mentor, get someone that you can ask and move forward. Yes, it might be scary, but the scariest thing to me is staying exactly where you are. Can you imagine? Terrible. You mentioned and never even touching your potential. It's Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Tom Brady didn't even start at the University of Michigan for 4 years till his senior year, and he had to split the duty. These are guys that had mentors along the way. I mean, Tom Brady talks openly about his father being his mentor, but he talks about mentorship, masterminds, people. He had Bill Belichick. Between the two of them, they conquered NFL football. So I want to just say it's been such a privilege to get to know Julee Gracey today, with Julie with 2 E's. I mean that. It's I could feel your energy and your confidence as we went along in your journey. I could feel it. I mean, it's like we're all energy at the end of the day, correct? Absolutely. So thank you so much for your time. I can't wait to see this podcast and see all the clips, because you're really special. So thank you for your time today. Thank you for allowing me to come on and speak to your audience. Absolutely big fan of yours, and I love what you're doing and how you're guiding people through finance and all of these areas. And just thank you for having a strong voice in the market. It's nice to see. Thank you. Excited for the future.